Scoodly doodly doo, it's time for another Welch review. Scoodly doodly doo doo.
Evening, gang.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of the Welch Review.
Today we are talking about a movie that doesn't suck. and it's called Dune.
Alright, so in Dune we have Timothée Chalamet as Paul. You might have seen Timothy in Netflix film The King, Call Me By Your Name, or A Rainy Day in New York.
Call Me By Your Name.
You might also see... Don't watch Call Me By Your Name. That was not a good experience.
Keep
Some
going.
people liked it. Alright, Zendaya as Shani. She was in Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home. And guess what? Spider-Way No Way Home. She's also in The Greatest Showman.
Spider-Way No Way Home?
No Way Home. She's in all the Spider-Mans in some of the homes.
Yeah.
You have Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica Atreides, sorry.
God, no
And she was
respect.
in The Girl on the Train and the new Mission Impossible movies. You have Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto Atreides. He's in the new Moon Knight show. The new Star Wars trilogy, episodes 7 to 9 is Poe, and Drive with Ryan Gosling. You have Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck from No Country for Old Men, Avengers Endgame, and Deadpool 2. You have Javier Bardem as Stilgar, also from No Country for Old Men, Mother, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and Skyfall.
Does he play he's the Freeman leader, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, who comes in and spits on the floor.
Yeah, well, that's an offering. Yeah, keep going.
Then you have Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen.
Harkonnen, yep.
He was in Thor and Thor 2 and Good Will Hunting.
And he's really fat in
Yeah,
this movie.
is based off of Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now.
Really?
Yep. Then you have Stephen McKinley Henderson as Thufir Hawat. He was in Fences, Lady Bird, and Lincoln. You have Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho. He is Aquaman in Aquaman and the Zack Snyder's Justice League,
Yep.
and Aquaman 2, and the film Wolves and Apple TV show C. You have Sharon Duncan Brewster as Dr. Liette Kynes.
Wait. There's an Aquaman 2?
Yeah. Hasn't come out yet, but it's announced.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
She was in Rogue One, Reset the Stage, and Imagine Me and You. And then you have Chang Chen as Dr. Wellington Ewan. And he was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, A Bright Summer Day, and Happy Together.
Yeah.
And then wrapping up the cast, you have Dave Bautista as Beast Rabin Harkonnen. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax, Stuber, and Army of the Dead. David Dalsmalchin as Peter de Vries. He was in The Suicide Squad as Polka Dot Man. Ant-Man, he plays Kurt. And in Batman The Long Halloween, he voices Calendar Man.
He plays their Menton, right? Never mind, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Then you have Charlotte Rampling as Reverend Mother Mohiam. She was in Assassin's Creed, 45 Years in Swimming Pool. Babs Olusamokun as Jameis, and he was in Roots, Black Mirror, and Too Old to Die Young on Amazon. It was written by John Spates, who wrote Prometheus, Passengers, and Doctor Strange. Eric Roth, who wrote Forrest Gump, The Insider, and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And it was also written and directed by Denis Villeneuve. He directed Arrival, Sicario, and Blade Runner 2049. So that's who's who and what you might have seen them from.
Yeah, dude. Alright, so Dune, obviously based off of the book series of the same name.
By Frank Herbert.
Yep. It's a pretty famous book series. A lot of people credit it as like one of, well, probably the most important sci-fi book series of all time. And it's kind of responsible for a lot of the sci-fi tropes that exist today. Anyways, with that out of the way, I'm not gonna get too much into the nitty-gritty of Dune because there's a lot there. But just to briefly summarize the plot, it goes kind of like this. You got Paul of Atreides and his pops, Leto, the first, and they live on a planet called Caladan. Caladan is a nice planet, and the Atreides are a ruling house in the universe. Also, computers are illegal because robots are mean. So, they have super smart people called Mentons, who are basically like humans who are really good at math to do the computers. Anyways, their feudal house, which is loyal to an emperor, is like on the up and up, right? They were a minor house just a little while ago, and now they're becoming like a big deal. And to recognize them, the emperor has given them the most important planet that the emperor has control over. It's called Dune. The Harkonnens.
It's called Arrakis.
Well, it's nicknamed Dune. It's called Arrakis. You are correct. Yeah. So they are now in charge of Arrakis. House. Sorry, my brain stopped working. Their enemy
Harkonnen.
House Harkonnen, who is famous for being mean and very cruel to their people, were in charge of it for 80 years. Just previously to them being awarded this fief, which is like a territorial landholding. The Atreides are famous for being really nice to their people and just generally good rulers. The movie opens up with them on Caladan, and basically they figure out, like, you know, they're going to be moving to Arrakis. Now, Arrakis is important because they have giant sandworms, which make space crack that let people see into the future. And they need this space crack so that they can keep their commerce alive, because the way that they travel through the universe is very complicated and dangerous. And if you don't have people who can see the future, you're more than likely going to crash into a star or a meteor or something dangerous, and it's going to be a horrible time. So space crack, super important, which is why being awarded Arrakis is a big deal. But it's also kind of a trap, right? The Harkonnens aren't very excited about losing that territory. And as a result, they become that House Atreides kind of main enemy during this time. Additionally, the Empire, even though the Emperor is the one who gave them that land, it was kind of like a trap, right? To try to pit them against the Harkonnens.
Did you say, like, he's trying to set the Atreides, setting up to fail?
Yeah, he's setting up the House Atreides to fail, and not only that, he is intentionally creating a feud in between these two houses that already don't like each other, right? So he's trying to provoke the Harkonnens to attack House Atreides, because the Harkonnens have a very large military, but the Atreides have a very strong military. Anyways, our main character, Paul, is important because he is the heir to House Atreides. In addition, he is kind of a messiah figure. And I say that because his mom is a member of a group of space witches who are kind of like nuns, but when they say things, you are forced to do them. Like, their voice compels you to do these things. And they have a myth of a man who will be born, who can see the future and the past, and basically will be able to lead humanity to a perfect outcome, a perfect future. And they think that Paul is probably this person, right? And when they go to Arrakis, there have been essentially like myths propagated about this person coming. Without getting into too much more, basically the movie follows the conflict in between House Atreides and House Harkonnen, and also how Paul becomes closely intertwined with the people of Arrakis, who are called the Freemen, who basically live in the desert, where it's very inhospitable and hard to survive. And he is becoming friends with them to kind of establish the power of his family on that world, right? Because the Freemen know best how to live on Arrakis. So yeah, without really giving anything away, I think that's where I'm kind of comfortable with leaving it off. Now, as a movie, I know this isn't exactly your cup of tea because it's kind of... It's not like the most exciting film. There's a lot of just like shots of landscapes and like spaceships coming out of oceans, or, you know, just like a whole bunch of sci-fi stuff, right? There's a lot of just like sci-fi world building in it, rather than like, I don't know, like Blade Runner-esque like action and activities going on. So what did you think about it? I guess that's.
So I think the first thing, I think the shots are, I think they're really cool, right? Like I think Denis Villeneuve, I'm probably butchering that name, but Dennis, I think, I feel comfortable calling him Dennis. I think he knows how to set up a scene. I think he knows how to world build, right? His previous foray into sci-fi, like you mentioned,
Blade Runner,
was
right?
Blade Runner 2049, and before that was Arrival. And Arrival, I think this movie has more with Arrival necessarily than Blade Runner, because Arrival is a really well done sci-fi film, but it is also, in a way, kind of an artistic sci-fi film versus just like a stylistic choice. It's like he's trying to paint you a picture and tell a story at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but I also think, like you mentioned, I thought there are instances in Dune, while it is beautiful to look at, I thought it just took too long to get to like some of the stuff like that had to, like, 2 hours or almost 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours is a long time, right?
Yeah.
Time is precious.
And it's only half of the book.
It's only half of the book, right? Because we know there's a Dune Part 2 coming, and he's hoping to do a trilogy. So we know we're going to be in Hebert's world for a little longer.
A minute, yeah.
And HBO just greenlit a spin-off series.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we're going to be in this sand dune for a while.
Yeah.
But I think, being a master storyteller he is, I think everyone, I don't know, man. I guess I can't criticize, but I guess I'm just saying
the movie took too damn long.
it took too. Some things did not have to be focused on as much, right?
Yeah.
You showed the landscape, cool. I don't need to see 40 extra or like 10 minutes of like it's sand. I get you.
I need 20 minutes of sand still shots.
Right. But like I get it. World building and like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It is. I just think there are instances that were done more artistically versus like how is this propelling the story?
Yeah,
and that's kind of
a little
where
bit more form over function.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can definitely see that, but I think the other thing that's valuable about this movie is, for just to summarize, Dune is a very hefty book. It's a lot of information being thrown at you. Even when you just start reading the book, like nothing's explained. They're just like, this happens, this happens, this happens. If you don't know what a Bene Gesserit is, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like they just throw a lot of made up words at you, very quickly.
Do they give you a dictionary in the book?
No. So you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. It is introduced in the book. There is information, but it's very dense. And if you blink, I know you're reading, but if you blink, you're completely freaking lost as to what X, Y, or Z is. And what this movie's done a good job of, and I do think that you need to watch it a couple of times, or hell, maybe even look up a YouTube video to understand some of it like I did.
Yeah.
But what it does do a very good job of with its establishing shots is portraying different parts of the world that it has just through imagery. Like, you can tell that everybody is kind of like a feudal space fascist, and even the best the best leaders they have, right? The Atreides are feudal space fascists because literally everybody in their military looks like a Nazi. Or maybe not a Nazi, but like World War I Germans who weren't fascists. But anyways, you know what I mean? Like, it's all stylized in a specific way to get across to you, what's going on socially with these groups. What the hierarchy is. Or like when they are on Dune, right? There's a scene where, and because Dune's a desert and you need to like conserve water because there's barely any water on the planet, they show that even the mice have ways to conserve water because when they sweat, it falls down their ears and then they re-drink their sweat. You know, so like they painstakingly go out of their way to display how different things within their world interact without explaining everything through exposition, which is important because I don't know if you guys watched our Avatar movie review. I really like Avatar. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, this movie has a lot of exposition and that's bad. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And then I watched it and I was like, this movie like lives off of exposition. What was I talking about? And that kind of dampens the movie a bit. So while Dune definitely sometimes it's like, yeah, I get it, the sand is cool.
The sand is cool.
There's other instances where they go out of their way to show you just like what the world is like through imagery or through tiny insignificant conversations, right? I don't want to rant anymore because I've kind of been hogging the spotlight, but for example, Paul goes out in the daytime into Dune, which is a bad plan because it's like 120 degrees out. And he talks to a gardener, right? This is the only gardener on the entire planet. And he is feeding some palm trees water. And he's like, hey man, maybe we shouldn't use that water on the plants, because the gardener tells him that each one of these plants drinks equivalent to what 20 men drink. 20 men would have to drink each day, right? And Paul's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't feed the plants then, maybe we should feed humans. And that shows you how Paul feels about people, right? He is about supporting and helping the people first. Whereas this gardener is saying, no, these trees are sacred. You know, they harken back to a day where the people of Arrakis were trying to change the planet into a lush jungle, right? That's what he was saying. So they got that information across while also showing you what Paul's actually like with the common people. And otherwise, that's a throwaway scene, right? Like, that didn't need to be in the movie, but it was in the book, and it does explain a lot.
No, I'm talking about shots of sand. That's what my problem is.
Yeah?
You know, like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just like, all right, cool, the desert. And I know we're going to be in the desert because it's the whole planet.
It's the whole movie is called Dune.
It's called Dune. I've seen the book cover. It shows sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, how many... You know, Dune's a very good movie. I probably need to go back and watch it a couple more times. I'm simply just saying, they could have trimmed some of the sand.
They could have trimmed some of the sand.
They could have trimmed a lot of things in a lot of movies. And it's a good movie. I need to watch it again, probably look up a YouTube video. But yeah.
No, that's perfectly fine, man. There was a lot of sand. Can't disagree with that.
When you're in a sandbox, you go and get sand. Maybe I need to accept that memo.
Well, aside from the sand, any characters jump out at you? Any people you
I really
enjoyed?
liked Javier Bardem, man. Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. I know we didn't see a ton of him, and I know this is very much an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a good standout. I think
he's gonna be bigger. Like, I think in the next.
Is the next one?
Yeah.
All right. I thought he was really good. I thought Oscar Isaacs just seems to be on a hot streak of like cool stuff lately.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, Moon Knight. He's working with Paul Schrader and Martin Scorsese in a movie called The Card Counter. That's gonna be dope.
That's cool.
You know, now he's in this. So like, I think he's just on the rise, you know, and it's been interesting seeing him in other movies where he's like a side character to like him being in these more established blockbusters as more of a main role. So I thought he did really good. Jason Momoa, I don't know, man. I think he's okay.
Yeah, I had some friends who were like, oh, my favorite was Jason Momoa, man. I'm like, really? Like, he's kind of a bad actor. Like, don't get me wrong. He's fun and he's fine. Like, he's okay. But I was never like, oh yeah, Jason, get him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, he has one really cool fight, and it's his last big fight scene in the movie, and it's like, yo, ain't nobody holding down Duncan, Idaho. You know what I'm saying? This man is from the land of potatoes.
Yeah, and like even in that, like they gave him some pretty good dialogue to deliver, where he was like, "What's important? What's important is what's happening."
Yeah,
in
he's
reality.
talking about your.
You know, and like
I forgot about all of those lines.
and like some of that was cool. And then they're like, "How do they fight?" He's like, "They fight like banshees." And it's like, "Okay, you're a space gypsy. I got you."
Yeah,
and like
that's a space Romani. Have some
yeah,
courtesy.
yeah. So it's
Mr.
just
Welch.
it's just like.
Mr.
I get it, man. You're all about this, like,
Stuff.
I don't know. And maybe I'm a little biased because, like, I briefly talked to him at a Comic-Con and I was like, hey, man, welcome to the DCU, you know? And then he was just like, and it's like, oh, okay. Maybe he had an off day. I don't know. But it's just
Should have
like,
cast Cyborg.
Cyborg was dope.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
a totally different story. But anyway, I just feel like he's just Jason Momoa in every movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, all right,
Now look, a big Samoan.
yeah, like you know, I'm a big guy, you know. But like, here's the thing: Dave Bautista also in this movie,
Yeah.
also normally known as just like a big guy, right?
Yeah.
Right? At one time one of the best wrestlers in the game, right?
Yeah.
However, he is an actual actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here's someone who has size, but he also has depth to the roles he brings. In each movie he does, I feel like Dave Bautista gets better and better. And,
Yeah.
like, he's doing things, man. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy. He's doing, like, John Carpenter-esque, you know, action films with, oh, God, that one where, like, Texas decides to do, like, martial law.
Oh, that's not the,
I forget what it's called.
oh well.
But whatever. So, but I'm just saying, like, he is an actual actor, and he's putting himself in
different situations.
Yeah, different situations. He's opening doors for him. Where like, sure, he's big, but he can also act.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
and
a big man with a lot of heart.
it's nice seeing that Dave Bautista's getting more roles, and like he's
trying.
acting. He has like good directors who are giving him a shot at these things.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm really rooting for Bautista, but he can actually act, and I'm stoked that he's in stuff.
In this movie, he's just gonna be a big dumb guy. That's literally his character. He's literally called the Beast in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, his whole character arc, even in the books, is big dumb mean guy.
That goes
Good
against
at murder.
all the compliments. It's just kidding.
Yeah.
But either way, I like seeing Dave Bautista
Yeah.
doing more things.
Yeah. Aside from that, aside from Dave Bautista,
Aside from Dave Bautista,
I have a few negative things that I want to say about the movie.
go for it.
Besides sand.
The sand trimming.
So my other complaint about the film is some of the lines. Now, most of the lines are really good, but there's two that I hate. I hate a lot. The first time that we see Duncan Idaho, Paul Atreides, right, the main character, Space Sand Jesus, walks up to him and they're talking, and he's like, "I've been having dreams," right? Like, that's the line. And then that's when Duncan Idaho says, well, dreams are okay, but it's about what you do in real life. But the "I've been having dreams" is supposed to be like a hard, serious statement. And it just sounds really stupid when it happens.
It's like,
No, he tries to be serious. He's like, "I've been having dreams." You know, like all raspily, and it's like, calm down, tiny
Like,
white boy.
cool, Paul. Everyone has dreams,
Yeah,
you idiot.
yeah, you stupid bastard.
Silly bastard, everyone has dreams.
Yeah.
You rich.
The other one is that Leto Atreides, right, Paul's dad, is talking about how on Caladan, I think it's Caladan, their homeworld, they ruled through sea power and air power. But,
Oh God, yes.
but on Arrakis, they'll need sand power. And then there's a scene later on in the movie where they are talking to a chieftain or a leader from one of the Freeman places. What's his name? Javier Bardem. And they're like, sand power. And then there's another scene where they see some Freemen in the desert and they're like, sand power. You know what I mean? Like, it comes up all the time and it's like, stop saying sand power. It's really annoying.
It's like in Star Wars, they're like the light side. And
Yeah.
It's like, They never said that.
Jesus
Jesus
ain't say that.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you got this really cool world that you're building, and you just like sand power.
Yeah. Sam Powell.
The suit up montage happens. Sand pours over him, and he becomes like a Power Ranger.
He's in his still suit.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
in his, yeah. Oh god. Sandproof, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. But aside from that, man, the choreography is great for like the fight scenes. I think it's really entertaining.
I feel like the whole sandwalk thing, they're just like, let's re-engineer moonwalking by Michael.
I thought that sand walking would be like funny, like it would just be like what the Freemen tell the white man to like get him to die by sandworm, and they're like, nah, man, we just walk on the rocks the whole time. Oh, also, giant sandworms hear vibrations and eat anything that walk on the sand. Forgot to mention that, kind of important.
Not enough sandworms either.
Sandworms, also for the record, are called Shai Harud, and that is important.
That is important.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were saying the choreography.
No, choreography is good. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways that comes into play. One, they have force fields around their body that only let things in that move a certain speed, right? Because you still need oxygen to pass through the force field, otherwise you just die. And then also, on top of that, that means that the only things that can get through now, right, because bullets won't work, they go too fast, are like knives when you go gently and then stab. So sword fighting's back, and they made a reason for sword fighting to be relevant in a world with guns.
Yeah.
Right? Not even just normal guns, big frickin' guns. You know? And then also they made a reason for those same shields to be irrelevant, because if you are on the sand, it pisses off the sandworms. So none of the Freemen wear these shields. Instead, they just sometimes hide in the sand like ninjas and then pop out and stab people to death, which is really entertaining to watch too.
Sand ninjas.
Yeah.
Sand power.
Yeah, sand power, man. It's something else. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Dune?
Looking
My
forward to
brother?
part 2, man. Looking forward to part 2. Anything Denis Villeneuve does, I typically would encourage anyone to check out. You know, and I think Timothée Chalamet, or Chalamet, however, I think he's someone to watch. I think this is going to be his Skywalker saga.
Oh yeah, I mean, 100%.
You know?
As long as it doesn't wind up sucking.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a feeling like there are, what, 6, 7 books, something like that?
Yeah, he's not in all of them.
Okay.
Spoilers, Paul dies in like the 3rd book. Which doesn't matter, because they're not going to make the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Because, trust me, the 3rd book is weird.
Okay.
Like, real weird.
So if you're looking for more of Frank Hebert, you know, the book series certainly is available.
Yeah, it has
Give it a
been
read.
for
It's been for years.
like 50 years.
This might have revamped some interest in that,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
new people. But yeah, no. If you want to play in the sand,
Go to Dune. Yeah, play in Arrakis. My only final advice is that if you wind up being interested in this movie, please do like check out just like some YouTube videos giving you a little bit of background about the world of Dune, because it is, even the movie's dense, right? Like,
Yeah.
not as dense as the books, but still dense. So do yourself a favor, watch a little bit of extra, like just primer, and then hop into it. Yeah,
and understand there's going to be a lot of sand.
a lot of sand.
This has been the Welch Review.